Now in this video, we're going to be analyzing the non-verbal gestures, the body language of our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Lawrence Wong, as well as our Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Pritam Singh. Now, as you probably know by now, body language plays a very important role in building a rapport with others. So it can be used by just about anybody: politicians, teachers, coaches, salesmen, to build a rapport with others. And when you use body language effectively, you can come across as confident, trustworthy, polite, well-mannered, even confident, even if times that you are not confident. So you can use it to your advantage. These days, a lot of analysts place a lot of emphasis on facial expressions, which is a good thing, because straight from the bat you look at their someone's facial expressions. But there are various other ways to decipher and decode body language gestures in order to tell if somebody is being genuine or they are trying to force their way or act their way to being kind, genuine, when they are not, or when they're hiding some information. Now, when they're hiding some information, the analysts and the experts usually tell you to look at the facial expressions, the posture, the upper body movement, the speed, tone, volume, and pitch of voice, and the totality of it. But sometimes they forget one of the more important parts of the body. That's the lower limb. So you can actually tell by the muscle definition, the movement of the feet, the toes, where the feet is pointing towards. All these can determine a person's interest, genuineness, likability, and especially whether they're telling the truth. So we'll more about that in other videos, but for this video, let us analyze the body language. Now, body language encompasses your tone, pitch, volume, and the pacing of your voice, as well as gestures and facial expression, upper body movement, lower body movement. And we're gonna have a look at the way in which they present in tones of voice. Now, before we begin, another key point is the more gestures that you use, the more genuine you come across, even if it comes across as a little bit over the top. Because when you do more hand gestures especially, you come across as genuine, trustworthy, animated, like a human being rather than a robot. So use a lot of gestures. I think in his inauguration speech in 2017, President Donald Trump used 68 hand gestures in a minute. 38 hand gestures in a minute. So that's about 4 times more the regular inauguration speech by other presidents. So you try to use hand gestures. Let's just analyze it. Let's begin.
The Workers' Party now says it wasn't a proposal. Well, come on, you can call it whatever you want today. The Workers' Party now says it wasn't a proposal. Well, come on, you can call it whatever you want.
Okay, notice that his tone of voice and his mannerism comes across as a very approachable gentleman. He has a very genuine kind of smile. Now you can tell a genuine smile from someone who's faking it by looking at their eyes. So if you smile, just casually look at our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. When he smiles, the edges of your eyes has creases. That shows genuine smiling. You're forcing, your smile is there, but then your crease is not there, and there might be creases and there might be bumps along the cheekbones as well. Let's look at his hand gestures. Now, when he's putting across a point, when you're putting across any kind of point, and if it's something that is very genuine and close to your heart, you put this heart gesture. You notice that it's close to his heart, close to his chest. So the point from your shoulder all the way to your belly button, these are like heart gestures. So when you want to put across ideas, suggestions, or your point of view about something that's close to your heart, or something that you really want others to feel, put it within this gesture rather than up or low. So it's within from your shoulder all the way to your belly button. Let's continue.
Whatever you want, but it was quite clear in the working paper, in a section headline.
Notice that a section headline. So when you're emphasizing a particular point on idea, so then you have it a bit closer to your mind. Let's say you say, oh, this is what's happening. Okay. Oh, the newspaper article says this. So you emphasize it. So then it's not low, but it's a bit higher. Not really your mind, but just along the chin line. For him, he went right up. Notice that?
Okay. Headline, calibrating the construction of new BTO estates. It says very clearly, around 9,000 or so dwelling units are required annually based on various population parameters. Otherwise, HDB will have a vacancy rate problem.
I'd like to emphasize another thing about his eye contact. You notice he looks at his notes and after 2-3 seconds lifts his head up and looks around. So the eye contact is to various people, which is one of the best things to do, because you don't want to come across as just replying to the person that has asked you the question, because there are other people listening as well. So you want to come across as genuine and like building a rapport with others, like speaking to others as well. You're not speaking to just one person, but everyone else. Even though you can't really see some of the others behind you, but the fact that you are facing people, you want to make sure that you acknowledge them. So this is what he did. It's quite good. Let's have a look.
Parameters. Otherwise, HDB will have a vacancy rate problem. Indeed, if we had adopted the WP proposal, well, never mind. Heeded their advice, since you don't want to call it proposal. And if we had done so and cut back the building of new flats and the subsequent proposal to allow singles aged below 30.
Okay, another thing is, the key thing is, I have spoken about this in another video, but just repeating it, because it's really something that's good to emphasize. Open palm gesture. You notice he's doing a lot of open palm gesture. Is one of the best gestures to use. If you need to learn one gesture, it's open palm gesture. We have open palm gestures that you're telling others there's nothing to hide. This is my honest view, my honest opinion about it. Let's go on.
Below 35 to buy new flats, we would be facing a much bigger supply-demand imbalance today. So, let's all show some humility in this. What happened?
The good thing about the speech pattern is there's emphasis and there's pausing. You see, he mentions, so he wants you to think what's going to happen if you were to follow the Workers' Party's suggestion. Let you think for a while. Pause. It's good to use pauses rather than fillers. Fillers are pause is more powerful.
What happened could not have been predicted, and let's refrain from passing judgment with the benefit of hindsight. On this topic and the minister's iteration of...
You notice for Mr. Pritam Singh's, his voice quality, tone and pitch a bit lower than Prime Minister Lawrence Wong's, but at the same time it's a bit...
On this topic...
Okay, it's a bit... The pace is slow and steady, which is good. So it's not too fast. When you speak fast, you can come across as nervous, a bit anxious. And when you come across as nervous, certain people might decode it as you're not being honest. You're trying to hide something or put a point across as fast as possible. So unless you're the person who always speaks that way, that's fine. So if someone knows you from your regular conversation and you speak that way, that's fine. But if you are speaking in a normal tone and suddenly you start to speed up, it's like you're trying to gather your thoughts quickly, you're nervous or you are having full-on energy. So it can come across as being nervous. Sometimes wrongly, because they might not know that that's the way you naturally speak to others. Let's carry on. And you notice Mr. Pritam Singh does the heart gesture as well, from the top of your body all the way to your belly button. Notice? It's with the open palm gesture. Let's have a look.
On this topic and the minister's iteration of this back and forth that's currently going on in the Straits Times Forum between the PAP and the WP, I'm reminded of what the government whip said many years ago in this house. Sometimes it's not just what you say, but what you don't say that also...
Okay, you remember I was mentioning about open palm gesture, but when you're making a point, it's good to point down. It's not good to actually point at others when you're speaking, because in certain cultures it can come across as rude. But what he did was, okay, it's not what you say, but what you don't say. So he's emphasizing on a point, but yet the pointer is downward, so you don't come across as rude, but you're still emphasizing a point. Another way you can do is closing up. It's not what you say, but what you don't say that's important. Let's carry on.
Years ago in this house, sometimes it's not just what you say, but what you don't say that also matters. And what the government is not saying, of course, is the context of the WP housing paper was in response to verse, a government proposal which wasn't very clear, and it was into the future. So
notice this palm gesture from the future, but this time is facing towards him, emphasizing a point. Again, heart gesture, nothing like over the top. So it's a bit more cool, concise, a bit less gestures than Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, but a bit cooler. Because Prime Minister Lawrence Wong come as a more energetic, maybe even a more friendly one, because he smiles a little bit more than leader of the opposition.
Naturally, the housing paper looks at a longer range forecast of the housing sector. And
I think it takes a very serious view on, naturally, of the party's, any stance against the party's ideas. So he's trying to put across the point that he's serious about this. This is what the party says. So that's why you don't see the smile as compared to Prime Minister Lawrence Wong's address just now.
And that was the context, which I have not heard any PAP MP speak about.
I fully appreciate the context because I was there in MND.
Now you notice he used a little bit more. He used quite a lot of gesture, which is good. Build a rapport and come across as genuine humans. I was there. Me, point to me, I was there.
Fully appreciate the context because I was there in MND. The context was concerned about decay of leases, declining values, but the context was also in the midst of a fall.
Now you notice he clasps the hands together. Sometimes clasping hands and holding on to podiums can be a sign of nervousness or a bit guarded or trying to be a bit more protective, like maybe you're a bit more cautious. But in this instance, it's not holding on to something, but it's just upwards there. It could be just a general comfort hand signal. So it's not. It could be nothing really. It could be just a comfort hand gesture that he prefers to use.
Declining values, but the context was also in the midst of a falling resale prices for consecutive years. And the Workers' Party is not alone in highlighting that under such an environment, we better consider how many new flats we are putting out. Many experts shared similar concern.
See, the tone and the pitch went up. Many experts, he's trying to emphasize that. They've spoken to experts, and experts has said this. Many experts, okay, rather than many experts. So raise in the pitch and tone.
Many experts shared similar concerns. I was under tremendous pressure to cut back BTO flats. There's no shame in acknowledging that you got that wrong. The People's Action Party seems.
Okay, that's about it. This is second part of it. But anyway, if you have any questions on nonverbal gestures or you like any other analysis, drop me an email. Thank you so much for watching. Continue to use gestures, build a rapport with others. Enjoy yourself. Thank you.